Complete automation is what we all want to get towards. We want no human beings and the whole thing being run autonomously.
I mean, the internal name for designing a machine that makes a machine is, we call it the alien Dreadnought. At the point at which the factory looks like an alien Dreadnought, then you know you've won. It's like, what the hell is that? So we're at alien Dreadnought version 0.5. It is will be Model 3. It'll take us another year to get to version 1, and probably a major version every 2 years thereafter. By version 3, it won't look like anything else. It might look like a giant chip pick-and-place machine or a super high-speed bottling canning plant, and you really can't have people in the production line itself. Otherwise, you automatically drop to people's feet.
Welcome to Connecting the Dots, the channel where we follow the breadcrumbs and try to predict where disruptions will take us. In the Q2 2016 earnings call, Elon Musk captivated investors with his vision for Tesla's future factories. He imagined them as alien dreadnoughts, like science fiction motherships, spitting out cars at unparalleled speeds with zero human intervention. In the years since, Tesla has evolved into a manufacturing powerhouse. With groundbreaking innovations like gigacastings and structural batteries, Tesla produces cars that even Toyota lauds as works of art. Moreover, it achieves this at a fraction of the time and cost it takes other manufacturers to produce their EVs. Yet impressive as this may be, this is just the prologue, because the alien dreadnought is about to arrive. Recently, Tesla added 2 other developments. Their Unboxed manufacturing process is a complete rethink of the automotive assembly line, and their Optimus robot is about to start taking the role of labor. Groundbreaking as they are just visible tips of an enormous engineering iceberg that is about to turn Elon's vision into a stunning reality. The Model 2 production line, which Tesla is building in Austin, will be a fully automated alien dreadnought, almost right from the start. In this video, we are about to delve into the amazing engineering and key technologies which make this feat possible, and there's a lot to unpack, so I'll stop talking and get straight to it. Patrons make these videos possible, so a huge shout out to my latest patrons, Nux L, Radpath, Robert B, David W, Premendra, Jeff R, Abel B, Joe Z, and Hans N, and to all my patrons, you guys rock. Before diving into specifics, let's zoom out and look at what I call Tesla's 5 manufacturing revolutions. These aren't mere innovations, they are paradigm shifts in manufacturing, driven by Elon Musk's philosophy.
The best part is no part. The best process is no process.
So far, only 2 of these revolutions have arrived, with 3 more waiting in the fold. As the song goes, Tesla's EV strategy is built on 3 pillars: producing vast quantities of cars, making them affordable for the masses, and ensuring they are desirable and fun. Unlike stripped-down Corollas, Tesla does not decontent. And unlike the Wuling Mini EV, they don't compromise on safety. Instead, Tesla reduces costs by cutting out unnecessary parts and processes. Grounded in first principles thinking, this approach doesn't just streamline production, it's a complete overhaul of traditional car manufacturing. The first of these revolutions emerged with the Model 3, summed up as, humans are expensive, let's use robots, where expensive wasn't just about cost, but also about efficiency and speed. Shockingly, car factories today operate at roughly the same pace as in Henry Ford's time, with a new car produced every 60 seconds or so. Machines evolved in leaps and bounds, but the pace humans work remained very much the same. Tesla went all in on robots and met production hell. Station by station, they recalibrated, reintegrating humans in areas where they outperformed machines. Experts mocked Tesla for making a rookie mistake.
It's like Elon Musk has been beamed down from another planet to show us mortals how to run a company.
Experts mocked Tesla for making a rookie mistake. After all, GM had already tried this and failed when, in the 1980s, Chairman Roger Smith wanted to make Saturn cars using mostly robots. This backfired with GM's own version of production hell, where robots smashed windshields, painted one another, and halted production lines. It all ended with GM putting workers back in and dragging the robots out to rust. So experts had a blast mocking Tesla, but the experts were wrong, because 30 years after the 80s, robots were different, design tools were different, EVs were different, and mostly, Elon was different. He believes in moving fast, testing and adjusting, and if you don't bring back at least 10% of what you deleted, it usually means you haven't deleted enough. Tesla emerged from production hell with a more roboticized and efficient production line than most traditional OEMs, and the first revolution was achieved. The second revolution, robots are expensive, let's use castings, revolutionized Model Y production. By shifting to giant castings front and rear, Tesla replaced 171 parts, eliminated 1,600 welds, and reduced the need for 300 robots. Deleting so many robots and processes slashed the capital expenditure required for production, increased volumetric efficiency, and dramatically reduced the time required to produce a vehicle. The third revolution circles back to the first with "humans are expensive, let's use humanoid robots." Optimus is a key piece in the puzzle of bringing Elon's alien Dreadnought factory to life. With its humanoid form and advanced AI, Optimus is designed to perform factory tasks currently performed by humans. And then there's the fourth revolution, the unboxed production method, developed by Tesla for its next-generation vehicles, and the fifth, which we will discuss later. Before delving into specific technologies, let's quickly cover concepts and building blocks central to Tesla's new factory development. Each of the technologies we will later see ties back to these principles. 1. Volumetric efficiency and throughput. Besides cost reduction, Tesla's alien Dreadnought factory aims to maximize the number of cars produced annually per cubic unit of factory space. This pursuit goes beyond automation and cost-cutting. It's about efficiency in both space and time. If Tesla can produce cars in half the space or time, they can double output without new construction or even additional lines. Tesla's factory designs take a page off CPU design and focus on minimizing the distance between operations to save energy and increase production speed. Processes are ruthlessly cut, and each operation, even the mere transferring of parts between stations, is treated as a potential bottleneck, which could one day slow down production. At first, this seems unimportant. Vehicle production includes many time-consuming processes, so why does it matter if the cars travel a little longer between them? In stagnant industries, this may be right, but when optimizing to the extreme, even shortening distances becomes important. Consider this analogy. You're sitting between a printer and a shredder, and each time a page is printed, you take it to the shredder. At a slow pace, transferring pages this way is a waste of energy and time, but as printing and shredding pick up pace, transferring pages will eventually become a bottleneck. Now compare this to the volumetric efficiency of the fun setups in the background, and you'll see what I mean. Optimizing factory space by removing parts and processes eliminates such bottlenecks, reduces energy and labor costs, and minimizes the need for additional machinery. 2. Unboxed manufacturing. With its unboxed process, Tesla is about to transform car manufacturing by moving away from the traditional assembly line. In traditional manufacturing, first the car body gets fully assembled with all doors attached to the body. Then it goes through a paint shop much larger than the car body, where robotic arms perform intricate movements to get all parts of the body fully painted. After painting, the doors are disassembled from the body. Work progresses around the fully assembled body or crouched within it, with all interior pieces such as seats, dashboard, and roof trim carefully inserted through the door openings. And at a late stage of assembly, the doors are reassembled to the body. In Tesla's unboxed process, however, the car is constructed in separate modules, such as front, center, and rear, which are only assembled at a later stage. There is no need to disassemble and then reassemble the doors. And since painting is performed for individual parts rather than the assembled body, it requires a much simpler and smaller paint booth. In my Highland videos, where I predicted Tesla's reinventing the production line, I discussed the potential for massive parallelization, but the extent to which Tesla took this exceeded my wildest dreams. You see, parallelization and modularity are key enablers of agility. When Joe Justice described his path into becoming a world-renowned expert in agile manufacturing, he recalled that when working for Bill Gates, Bill constantly hounded him on, "What can we do in parallel? What can we do in parallel? What can we do in parallel?" Again and again, Joe broke down the product into smaller and smaller independent units until reaching a set of atomic modules which could not be broken down any further and would be joined together very late in the process. Modularity has many advantages. Building modules independently enables parallel production, which eliminates bottlenecks and accelerates manufacturing speed. It increases agility, as changes can be made in each module without worrying about their affecting other modules. Modules provide easier access than an assembled car and don't require fitting things through tight door openings or to work crouched inside. And modularity also increases volumetric efficiency, with workers huddling around small modules rather than a fully built car. To achieve modularity, two requirements must be kept. 1. minimizing interconnections. Reducing the number of mechanical, hydraulic, and electrical interconnections between modules minimizes dependency and preserves the integrity of modularity. For example, routing hydraulic lines from the front brake cylinder to the rear brakes cuts through all modules, so we want to avoid it to keep the modules separate. And 2, maintaining interfaces. Establishing clear interfaces between modules facilitates changing a module or its production method without impacting other modules. As long as the module maintains its interfaces, other modules won't be affected. Interfaces include electrical connections, such as plugs and sockets, mechanical connections such as mounting points and bolts, hydraulic connections such as brake fluid lines, and software interfaces such as defined messages telling the wipers what you want them to do. 3. Optimus Integration Surprise. I have previously released several videos about Tesla's humanoid robot, Optimus, which is key to achieving Elon Musk's ambitious vision of an alien Dreadnought factory. The idea behind the alien Dreadnought is to create a factory that operates with complete automation and where humans only hold supervisory roles. Clearly, this means having Optimus work in production instead of humans, but here's where it gets interesting, because what I originally thought would happen probably won't, and reality should be much more exciting. For starters, Tesla's shift from human-operated production to Optimus-operated one should be smooth and gradual. They can start using Optimus in very few stations, specifically those which involve simple, repetitive tasks such as feeding parts to industrial robots. As Optimus capabilities improve, they will gradually train it for additional stations, including ones involving more complex operations. This enables a gradual transition until Optimus masters all production stations. However, this gradual growth isn't limited to conquering additional stations, but also within the stations themselves. And this gradual growth isn't limited to conquering additional stations, but also within the stations themselves. Tesla's production setup isn't a line, but rather an agile 3D matrix of production cells. This enables Tesla to open Optimus-operated production cells in parallel to those manned by humans. Initially, most cars would be sent to the cell manned by human workers, and only a few will be assigned to Optimus. As Optimus becomes more skilled, an increasing number of cars will be diverted to its cell, until eventually the entire flow of cars would be sent to Optimus, and the human-operated cell would be phased out. While this transition is gradual and smooth, it is also wrong, as I don't see it happening. This should work when integrating Optimus into Model 3 or Y production, and it could also work if Model 2 is surprisingly released in the next half year or so. But if Model 2 is released later, things should be excitingly different. In my latest video on how humanoid robots are trained, I showed that rapid advancements in AI enable to just show robots several times how to do a required task and they will learn it. Previously, teaching robots to perform complex tasks took a long time, and so I assumed that production would start under human workers and gradually shift towards Optimus. But AI is progressing tremendously fast, and robot training has become simplified to a degree that if the factory will be ready around October or later, its Android workers should be ready for it as well. There could be a few stations which still require a human touch, and for risk mitigation purposes and possibly regulatory requirements, Tesla will probably keep humans ready to take over in case problems occur. But otherwise, why transition from human to humanoid when Optimus can do the job from day one? The best process is no process, and starting with Optimus eliminates the need to hire workers and then reposition them to other jobs. So there's a good chance that Model 2 production will be fully automated from day one. But what does this mean? My formal reply is that as a Tesla investor, I see this as extremely bullish. But let's put formalities aside, because growing on science fiction and still rocking that inner child, all I can think of is wow, just wow. A fully automated alien Dreadnought factory operating this year or the next is science fiction condensed. It is optimism distilled. It is our first glimpse into a future of abundance, and it is something I truly want to see. Life is a continuous journey of learning, and I firmly believe in embracing every opportunity to expand our knowledge. This is precisely why I love Brilliant, the sponsor of today's video. Brilliant gamifies learning and makes learning math, data science, and computer science an enjoyable and effective experience. They give fun, interactive education made for those with busy schedules. I often find myself using a free hour in Brilliant's app or website, learning something new rather than wasting that time on YouTube. For me, this is a huge deal. I'm currently nearing the end of Sabine Hassenfelder's excellent quantum mechanics course, and I have just started a course on how large language models such as ChatGPT and Grok are built. The structure of learning on Brilliant is progressive and well thought out. Each lesson lays a foundational understanding for the next, with a mix of simulations and videos to complement the textual content. Learning is interactive and uses fun experiments and well thought out questions to bring new insights. And they have thousands of lessons ranging from the foundational to advanced topics, and they're constantly updating with new lessons. Even the LLM course I am doing is a recent, very up-to-date addition. For those eager to start their learning journey, Brilliant is offering a 30-day free trial when using my link brilliant.org/CTDots. Plus, the first 200 viewers to sign up for an annual subscription will receive a 20% discount. This trial grants complete access to all their courses and a perfect opportunity to grow and acquire new skills. So, why wait? Visit brilliant.org/CTDots to start learning today. And a special thanks to Brilliant for sponsoring this video. Key technologies. Tesla's focus on optimizing production and deleting unrequired parts and processes had turned Fremont into America's most productive car factory and enabled Shanghai to achieve a previously unheard of pace of only 40 seconds between cars. Still not satisfied, however, Tesla aims for much higher production speeds, because if 40 seconds are possible, then why not 30 or 10? Covering the full list of technologies I expect to see takes well over an hour, so I split it into two parts. In this video, we will cover key technologies and engineering solutions, and my next video should cover a never-ending list of smaller but very cool technologies which also take part in creating the Dreadnought. 1. Dry factory. The first technology I expect Tesla to use is what I call the dry factory. The dry factory concept focuses on minimizing the use of liquids in vehicles and in the way they are produced. Cars require various fluids like coolants, engine oil, power brake fluid, and power steering fluid. Handling and supplying these fluids adds huge complexity to the manufacturing process with oil drums, pipes, pumps, special ventilation, spill containment systems, and even special disposal methods. Let's listen to Dylan Loomis.
Reuters is reporting today that LA, San Francisco, and 24 other California counties are suing Tesla over the alleged mismanagement of hazardous materials. The counties accuse Tesla of violating state unfair business and hazardous waste management laws by improperly labeling waste and sending the materials to landfills that cannot accept hazardous material. California's hazardous waste management law carries potential civil penalties as high as $70,000 per violation per day. The lawsuit seeks civil penalties and an injunction that would require the company to properly handle its waste in the future. Specifically, the waste produced or handled at the facilities includes paint materials, brake fluids, used batteries, antifreeze, and diesel fuel. Back in 2019, Tesla paid a $31,000 penalty thanks to a settlement with the EPA over federal hazardous waste violations at its factory. And in 2022, Tesla settled with the EPA, under which Tesla had to pay a $275,000 penalty.
The dry factory concept aims to eliminate or significantly reduce such complexity and remove as many liquids as possible. Let's start with the paint shop. Unboxed production takes a big step towards achieving a dry factory, as separately painting each part requires a smaller and simpler paint shop than that required for painting an assembled car. However, there is a good chance that Model 2 will not require a paint shop at all. I'll explain this later in the casting section, but for now let's focus on what ditching the paint shop would save. While painting sounds straightforward, it involves too many processes to list here. Special measures have to be taken in each stage, starting with handling supplies, going through painting and drying, and finishing with waste disposal. The biggest time saved is in not having to wait for paint to dry. This reminds me of another great optimizer, Henry Ford. The reason that Model T Fords were only offered in black for several years was that in 1914, production became so fast that paint became the bottleneck. Since only Japan black paint would dry fast enough, Ford adopted a single-color policy until fast-drying Duco lacquer was developed in 1926. Overall, eliminating paint should save $200 to $500 from the cost of each car and knock 30 to 60 minutes from a car's production time. Besides these huge savings, it enhances volumetric efficiency and production speed. Let's now move to electric power steering. As predicted, Cybertruck arrived with variable ratio steer-by-wire with rear-wheel steering, with the tri-motor version adding torque vectoring to the fun. Similarly, Model 2 should also have variable ratio steer-by-wire, but Tesla stepped towards Drive Factory long before Model 2 by using electric rather than hydraulic power steering in all its models. Car magazines correctly state that electric power steering consumes less power and saves range compared to hydraulic steering, but they rarely address the advantages in production. Electric power brakes by wire. Model 2 should also have brake-by-wire, very probably Brembo's Sensify system, which significantly improves braking performance. This system is extremely interesting and has huge performance advantages, and if you want more details, there's a whole section about it in another video that I made, link in the description. Upon suggesting that Model 2 should have this system, some viewers commented on my video saying that it would be too expensive to use in a $25,000 car. I think otherwise, mostly because they bring huge advantages in both Drive Factory and modularity. Traditional power brakes use brake fluid, which increases complexity. It requires similar handling precautions as mentioned for hydraulic power steering fluid, but to a greater degree. Similar to hydraulic power steering, brake fluid can be filled only after the entire braking system is assembled and checked for leaks. Upon filling, it is extremely important to bleed trapped air bubbles out of the system, which requires labor and mostly time. In addition, lines going from the master cylinder to the rear wheels destroy modularity. Brembo offers two versions of Sensify. Both systems use electric brakes on the rear wheels, but for the front brakes, one version offers hydraulic brakes and the other offers electric, and I expect Tesla to go fully electric. To put this into perspective, with Tesla's patented wiring hub, all that is needed is to plug the brake pedal and each brake actuator into the wiring hub. And that's that. Batteries. Tesla's pivot to using dry battery electrode manufacturing, particularly with its 4680 cells, exemplifies the Drive Factory approach. This process eliminates the use of solvents and the slow, space-consuming drying processes which traditional wet electrodes require. Compared to wet processes, dry battery electrode has less risk of fire, less need to control hazardous emissions. It reduces the environmental impact, saves factory space, aligns with Tesla's sustainability goals, and mostly results in a much faster and probably cheaper production process. Adhesives, sealants, and dampening material. Surprisingly, gigacastings also help achieve the Drive Factory goal. Gigacastings significantly reduce the number of parts in a car, which means less glue is required to bond parts together, and less sealant and noise, vibration, and harshness dampeners, such as silicon, are required between parts. This should become especially apparent if, as we will soon discuss, the upper body is also cast. Admittedly, I am out of my depth here, so let's go on. 2 castings. Let's start with the rumored entire car in one shot, full chassis casting. When Tesla moved from 2 huge mega castings in Model Y's rear to a single larger casting, they named it gigacasting. So I'll use Teracasting to reference something even bigger. And there are several ways to do that. First, Tesla had patented a giant high-pressure die casting machine, or gigapress, which can cast an entire car in a single shot, the same way Matchbox cars are made. This has numerous advantages. Making the entire chassis as a single piece has huge quality benefits. Doing so in a single machine saves investing in numerous other machines, removes hundreds of industrial robots, and reduces the need for human or humanoid labor. And producing it in a matter of seconds saves a lot of labor and speeds up production. Despite this, I don't think Tesla will use this for Model 2. The advantages I listed were compared to a traditional build, but compared the more modular unboxed method, I see mostly drawbacks. Casting the chassis in one piece saves some time, labor, parts, and tools compared to joining 2 castings and a battery pack together. But if these parts are planned to match each other well, like Lego blocks do, the savings are small. On the other hand, a single-piece full-car Teracasting breaks down modularity and completely kills unboxed production. Once the body is cast, all work revolves around it, with all the drawbacks that traditional builds have. Bottom line, I don't think they'll cast the entire car in one shot, nor that they'll just do the lower chassis this way. When building an alien Dreadnought, modularity must win. What I do think they will do is cast the entire upper chassis or top hat in one piece. There has been much debate regarding whether it should be possible to cast aluminum side panels that withstand side crash safety regulations as well as high-strength steel stampings do. I think that it's hard, but possible. I see several ways to overcome the inherent problems, but I don't think Tesla will try them, because there is a better way to approach the problem, which is to make the upper chassis from composite materials. As we will soon see, this has huge advantages, but is it possible? Many cars have composite upper bodies, but they always have metal frames hiding underneath. The Chevrolet Corvette is made of various composites, but all versions from C1 to C8 use steel for their upper chassis. The same goes for the Dodge Viper, the BMW M1, and the TVR Tuscan. The 1970s Bricklin SV1 safety car, which preceded the DeLorean with gull-wing doors, looks entirely made of plastic, yet it hides a closed-tube chassis with an integrated roll cage. The Lotus Elise and Exige have composite bodies over an aluminum frame. And the Porsche 911 GT3 RS uses carbon fiber reinforced plastic body panels, covering a chassis made of aluminum and steel. Tesla doesn't reason by analogy, so these examples only mean that it's difficult, not that it can't be done. Besides, there are examples where a composite chassis was successfully used. Most were racing cars, but there's also the BMW i3. The i3 was the first mass production car with most of its internal structure and body made of carbon fiber reinforced plastic, or CFRP, which enabled BMW engineers to reduce the car's weight. In fact, Tesla did consider using a composite upper body, but decided to ditch it due to its different expansion coefficients compared to metal. As temperatures rise, metal expands, while composites remain pretty much unchanged, so the analogy I made of modules matching each other well, like Lego blocks, breaks up once the cast lower body contracts in winter or expands during summer. So Tesla considered it and then ditched it, but watch Elon's mind going click when he hears what Sandy Munro has to say on the i3.
Yeah, I mean, there are some other issues with carbon fiber, which is that carbon fiber with resin has a coefficient of thermal expansion which is basically zero. And if you have parts that are, say, aluminum or steel, aluminum's got quite a high, CTE. Stainless it's like about halfway. Yeah. It's like. So then, if you have like a hot versus a cold environment, like you can't have your doors jam.
Yeah,
so
correct.
Having, matching CTE is pretty important for things like a door frame. So that's, if we're using, say, steel, we probably need to stay with a steel door, because otherwise we're going to get like CTE issues.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, we found out the tricks that BMW used. So they've got cross-car beams, which is going to shrink the most, and they're embedded right into the carbon fiber. So how is that possible? This will rip free. We tried this when I worked on the Boeing 787 and stuff, and we tried that. And when you do the thermal expansion and contraction, it just rips free from everything. But clever design or clever engineering on BMW's part made it so that you could do that. So I'm not saying run out and do this right now, but eventually. You guys are material science experts.
A composite upper chassis, like the i3's, has many advantages, but requires lots of time and effort to make, so I don't see Tesla using it as is. Instead, they could use the much cheaper forged composites method developed by Lamborghini as LFC, Lamborghini's Forged Composites, and the Italian CPC group as Forged Carbon Fiber Sheet Molding Compound, CFSMC. This method is currently in use in Lamborghini cars, as well as by Aptera. Carbon fiber SMC is a lightweight material consisting of a random arrangement of short fibers that make it possible to mold intricately shaped parts. The material arrives in the form of thin sheets, which are then heated, inserted into a mold, and subjected to pressure until the carbon fiber strands bond together and form a lightweight but strong part in the shape of the mold. Either that, or find a way to cast carbon fiber. Consider the following advantages. Similar to gigacastings, producing the upper body this way deletes a whole lot of robots, production tools, and labor, and considerably speeds up production. Using composites for the upper body removes the need for a paint shop. This should probably apply to all exterior panels, including doors. The Unboxed Manufacturing presentation showed doors as painted to demonstrate that unboxed construction requires a much smaller and simpler paint shop than traditional boxed construction. However, the best paint shop is no paint shop. So if Tesla succeeds in solving the casting problems, no paint shop would be needed. Now imagine the wiring hub we previously discussed. and imagine the wires encased within the plastic resin of the body, with their connectors left exposed. This turns the chassis into a huge integrated circuit, which significantly increases the electrical system's reliability. If you find that mind-boggling, that's how Elon's thinking works. Again, this part is pure speculation. They could cast the upper part in aluminum or magnesium, or just make it the traditional way, but if you ask me, I think they will use a forged or cast composite upper body. And besides, there's this Easter egg they left us in the Investors Day presentation, where the castings are shown as front, rear, and other. I think I know what other means. Do you? An alien Dreadnought factory is extremely exciting. The question is, when will it happen? Will Model 2 be produced by humanoids right from the start? Let me know what you think. The next video will show lots of other breakthrough technologies, which I expect Tesla to use. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. Consider supporting me on patreon.com/connectingodots for as little as $1 a month. Your support really helps me make these deep dive videos, and you'll also get my patron-only newsletter videos. Don't forget to check out Brilliant, the sponsor of this video, at brilliant.org/ctdots and get 30 days of free access. You can also support the channel by sharing this video on social media. Please follow me on X, where I am connecting O Dots. Until next time, I am connecting the dots, and you are amazing.